Hello and welcome to CBA's News in Brief. My name is Yunis Dekow. Somaliland's President Musa Bihi Abdi has appealed with opposition parties to come together to resolve the issue of the overdue elections. He called the opposition parties for a meeting early next week to resolve the contested issues that led to an election deadlock. Speaking at the inauguration ceremony of Berbera Free Economic Zone, President Bihi blamed election delays on the disagreement of political parties. He stressed that no one else is to be blamed for the recurrent election delays. President Bihi lamented the ramification of the election delays in his speech. He said such irregular elections foster resettlement and conflict in the interior front. In the external front, the president said the electoral stalemate had Somaliland standing with the international community. The call comes at a time when a delegation from Somaliland's international partners are expected to arrive next week to discuss the electoral stalemate in the country. Somaliland's opposition parties Wadani and U'id have vowed not to work with President Musa Bihi Abdi in order to end the political dispute surrounding the newly sworn-in electoral commissioners. The parties say they will only wait for the Volunteer Mediation Committee to spearhead the negotiations with the president. The party leaders of Wadani and U'id parties have expressed their dissatisfaction with President Musa Bihi Abdi's leadership and vowed not to work with him. The two leaders who held a meeting in U'id party headquarters in the capital Hargeisa also said the president's speech and actions don't go hand in hand. They have turned down an invitation from the president to have a meeting in a bid to discuss events that they have significantly undermined Somaliland's democratic credentials and international standing. The chairman of U'id party, Faisal Ali Warawi, who spoke on behalf of the two parties, said it is the responsibility of the president to hold a parliamentary and local elections on time. Mr. Faisal Warawi added that the president's long-term goal is to extend his presidential term when it ends in 2022. The chairman of U'id party, Faisal Ali Warawi, who addressed the media after a meeting with Wadani party chairman Abdurrahman Mohammed Unro, also said if the president will not hold elections on time, the opposition will not regard him as the president and will charter a way forward for their supporters. The Committee of Businessmen and Elders who are mediating between the government and opposition parties have met with Kulmiya party officials in the capital Hargeisa. The mediation committee has on Tuesday met with the ruling party Kulmiya in a bid to broker a deal between the government and the opposition parties in Somaliland. The officials from the mediation committee and the ruling party did not disclose the outcome of the meeting convened at the latter's headquarters in Hargeisa. The second vice chairman of Kulmiya party, Ahmed Abdider, who addressed the media after the meeting, said the party has given the committee its recommendations. Ahmed Abdi, who did not want to dwell much into the outcome of the meeting, added that the ruling party is ready to hold elections as soon as the political deadlock is over. The mediation committee is spearheading effort to resolve the stalemate that has caused a political crisis triggered by the dispute over the Electoral Commission. The government of President Musa Bihi Abdi has arrested 88 people for expressing their view this year. That is according to a statement by Somaliland's Human Rights Center on the International Human Rights Day. The independent human rights watchdog expressed the concerns over the increasing restrictions of freedom of expression and media in Somaliland. The organization said it had recorded 88 cases of people arrested for expressing their opinions this year. 29 of those were journalists, while 59 were not, according to the Human Rights Center. The organization further reported that the government has closed down 4 media houses this year. 2019 also marked a crackdown on opposition officials, especially Wadani party, whom 3 of its officials were detained. The Secretary General and the spokesman of Wadani party, Qadar Hussein and Barqat Chama, were arrested in November and held for 9 days in a maximum security prison. The youth wing leader of the party, Mohammed Siddiq Dame, was detained earlier this year for opposing a state of emergency imposed by the president. Human Rights Center also highlighted other restrictions on the freedom of expression in the country. One such restriction is the ban on meetings and ceremonies at Hargeisa hotels without prior authorization. Another one is effective ban on opposition parties' rallies, such as the one called by Wadani on November 16th. At least 23 people have been killed and many others injured when rival clan militias clashed in central Somalia. Residents and community elders have told local media on Tuesday. The militiamen from the Somalia's federal state of Puntland and Galmudug started fighting over grazing land clan disputes last Sunday in Afbarwaaqo and Tawfiq villages east of Mudug region. This is one of the worst such confrontations seen in the province, claiming the lives of dozens of people within 2 days while forcing hundreds of families to flee their homes due to the escalation of the fighting. Local residents say the tribal battle in the region was still ongoing, with the use of heavy weaponry. Mahmoud Ali Elmi, who is an elder in Tawfiq area, spoke to the local media by phone and said that at least 23 people have died in the hostilities between the clans, and more than that number were injured. Multiple sources said the situation is still too tense and there might be further clashes as war preparations are underway in the nearby villages amid efforts initiated by traditional elders of the region to cease the bloodshed. The Somali government and Puntland state on Monday called for an immediate end to the fighting that has resulted in the loss of innocent lives, urging both sides to pursue dialogue to resolve their disputes. The Prime Minister of the Federal Government of Somalia hosted officials from the European Union in the capital Mogadishu. The Premier and the EU delegation discussed the key issues, among them Somalia's debt relief. The delegation, led by the EU's envoy to Somalia, Nicholas Balanga, was delighted at the visit to Somalia and said the meeting is a reflection of the European Union's commitment to supporting Somalia, the good work the government has done, and the improvement of the country's financial institutions. Prime Minister Hassan Ali Khaire thanked the EU delegation for its support to the Somali people to ensure that Somalia's debt is relieved by 2020. The visiting delegation praised the government's effort to secure debt consolidation and the improved financial management system. The federal government of Somalia has met most of the conditions set by the International Monetary Fund to Somalia for debt relief procedure. And with that, we wrap up our news in brief. Thank you for joining us. My name is Yunis Dekow. Have a lovely time.